Hi friends, good day. Today I am giving introduction to company account theory part. It's a purely theory oriented. You are also having company law in CA Inter. Only minimum knowledge you need to possess as far as theory part of company is concerned. Let me briefly explain. There are some points which is mentioned on the screen. Just orally I'll teach certain things. Just you listen and pay attention to understand it. See, we are having three types of business organization: sole proprietary concern, partnership, and joint stock company. Sole proprietary concern is nothing but one man army. When a person has started his own business, like we have seen Ganesh started Ganesh Medicals, Shiva started Shiva Medicals, like the one person company, sole proprietary concern. Uh, Partnership, you learned in partnership account, two or more person have joined together for starting the business, for sharing profits and losses carried by all or any of them acting for all. That is partnership. Now, because of the disadvantage of sole proprietary concerns, partnership business came into existence. What are the drawbacks of sole proprietary concern? The drawbacks of sole proprietary concern is the unlimited liability, limited capital. Unlimited liability means if a firm has gone for liquidation, firm has firm has become insolvent rather, the proprietor needs to bring his private properties for clearing the firm liabilities. When sole proprietary concern has become insolvent, insolvent means assets are less than liabilities. To discharge the liability, sole proprietor to bring his personal assets after meeting his personal liabilities, he needs to bring the cash to make the payment of business liabilities. It is a risky for whom? Sole proprietor. And the second point is, even though there's a good demand for the business, good future, good prospect for sole proprietary concern, but the limited capital means sole proprietor don't can't take risk. Even though he can borrow money from outside, but risk element is more when he is only handling one hand. Is handling the things He is handling the things without taking anybody's help. That means he's a boss. It's a one man army. Maybe his family members are supporting, but ultimately decision has to be taken by sole proprietary concern, that proprietor. So there is a called as risk and return. When you take more risk, you get more return. But to what extent you have to take a risk is a question mark. That is why we say that limited capital. So because of these two disadvantages, partnership business came into existence. Again, in partnership business, also same point. The same two drawbacks will continue. But only thing is that there it's only one person has to bear has to bear the risk. Here there is somebody to bear the risk. There is somebody to help you to bring the money that is needed for expansion of the business. So that is why partnership business came into existence. Again, the same two limitations continue to hamper the progress of this partnership business. What are those two drawbacks? Again, unlimited liability. Liability of the partners also unlimited, unless it's a limited liability partnership firm is called as LLP. We're having act that I think in law you'll be learning about it. So the limited liability partnership is nothing but the partner's liability is limited. But if it is unlimited, if nothing is mentioned, partnership firm is called as unlimited liability. Unlimited liability means partner's liability is unlimited. If again firm has become insolvent, partners need to bring their personal property into business to clear off the firm liabilities. Okay, that is a drawback. And capital is also limited. Even few partners can't contribute a major amount. So that is why which business came into existence? Company accounts, where you can get huge investment in the form of contribution from the public by issuing the shares. So large amount of money, a modern technology, large human contribution, etc., has become necessary to meet the never ending human desire to grow and grow further. So, therefore, sole proprietary or partnership firms could not meet these needs. So, to overcome this difficulty, the concept of company or corporation came into existence. Actually, if you look at the meaning of company, the word company implies a group of people who voluntarily agree to form a company and is derived from the Latin word com, C-O-M, com, that is with or together, and panis, P-A-N-I-S, that is bread. It refers to an association of persons discussing matters and taking food together. This is how the company word has come. Sometimes generally we ask in somebody we were alone going to have a breakfast or having a snack, can you give me a company? So this generally we casually use the term, right? The same way this term has been derived Latin word com, C-O-M, com, is nothing but from this Latin word which term has come, which word has come, company. However, in law, company is termed as a company which is formed and registered under the Companies Act 2013, or an existing company, that is before 2013 you are having a company, or an existing company formed and registered under any of the previous laws, act or acts relating to companies before the Indian Companies Act 2013. Before Indian Companies Act 2013, before Companies Act 2013, we were having Companies Act 1956 also. After independence, we got 1956 Companies Act. A company, registered company means not only 2013 Act. In prior to the 2013 Act, what are the act is there? According to that particular act, if it has been registered, it is called as a company. It is an organization consisting of individuals called shareholders, by virtue of holding the shares of the company. That means they are investing the money into the company. They are called as shareholders, and they are authorized by law to elect a board of directors. The reason is that you and me can be the shareholders of a company, but our head office is situated somewhere in Mumbai, like Reliance. We have got investment in Reliance company. So we are appointing board of directors to look on behalf of the scattered shareholders. Scattered means at different parts of the place the shareholders are there, so they can't go and they can't do the business. So they are nominating the directors to look after. They are nominating to elect the board of directors as per the law. Okay, so the representative of the shareholders are directors, they are the people who carry the business on behalf of the shareholders. Now let us look at the silent features of a company. A voluntary association. A company is a voluntary association. Means a company is a voluntary association of persons formed under law to carry on any business. We are not forcing anybody to come and join. It's a voluntary association of persons. Its capital is divided into many units known as shares. We talk about sole proprietor capital, partnership partners capital, company share capital. That capital is divided into many units known as shares. A person can become a member of the company by purchasing its shares. A member having such shares is known as shareholders. This is the silent features of a company. First point is voluntary association. Now let me explain next one. Independent existence, that is separate legal entity. A company has an independent existence apart from its members. That means company is different, members are different. Its assets and liabilities belong to company and not to its members. Members may come, members may go, but company will remain forever. That is why assets and liabilities in the form of in the name of company. It can own property, company can own property, that is company can buy a property, company can have a bank, company can take a loan, company can sue, that is can file a suit in the court, and company can be sued by outsiders in its own name. That is why company is called as a separate legal entity. Simple words, it's an artificial person created by law. Then company is having perpetual succession, is nothing but permanent existence. That is, company will never die. Members may come, members may go, but the company goes on forever. A company is not affected by death of a member or a new member coming in place of an old members, because you'll be learning in due course of time. When you buy the shares of a public limited company, they can be transferred, but private limited company shares cannot be transferred. Public limited company shares can be transferred. So therefore, members may change, but company will remain forever. A company is owned up by law only if company can be liquidated by law. That you will be having liquidation of companies in Group 2 CA Inter. It has to act through directors and employees. But since a artificial person, it will be acting through directors and employees. We have discussed company can sue others. That is what is called as common seal. A company cannot sign the documents as it is not a natural person. Company cannot sign. So, but each company has a common seal which is like a signature. Then how a company can enter into an agreement? When any authorized person puts the seal on any paper or document, it is legal evidence of an act done by the company. Whenever you fix that common seal, that seal on any document, we can say company has entered into an agreement. So since company cannot sign, only authorized person can put the seal. Then other features, if you look at incorporation, a company comes into existence through the operation of law. So registration under the Companies Act is a must. If a company, after formation of a company, if you don't register, it cannot be called as a company. This is what is called as incorporation of a company. Incorporation means you'll be getting certificate of registration from the company. Governing Act. All companies are governed by the Companies Act 2013. Okay. Then number of persons. A private company can be formed by minimum 2 members with a maximum limit of 200 members. A public company, we are having two types of company we discuss later on. A public company can be formed by minimum 7 members with no maximum limit members. So minimum number are, we are having two companies, private company and public limited company. Private limited company minimum 2 members, maximum 200. Public limited company minimum 7, maximum unlimited. Those who are coming from 12th standard, you have learned the features of company from commerce stream. Limited liability. The liability of every shareholder is limited to issue price of the shares allotted to him. If the shares are fully paid up, he is not subject to any further liability. Issue price means, if generally when companies are issuing the shares, they will be fixing the value for that, is called as par value. If 10 rupees is the face value or par value or nominal value, so the 10 rupees, if 8 rupees has been paid, the liability of the shareholder is only for 2 rupees. If 10 rupees, the share that has been allotted to shareholder has paid 10 rupees on the number of shares allotted, that means his liability, that the such shareholders does not have any liability even company goes for liquidation. When companies goes for liquidation, winding up, when company is trying to discharge the liabilities of the company by selling the assets, if assets are insufficient, then members, that is shareholders, need not pay any amount if the face value of the share, that is issue price of the share, as we got different meaning to issue price. You will be learning that in when you start accounting. Issue price of the share has been paid by the shareholder, his liability is limited. If issue price of the share, say 10 rupees, 8 rupees has been paid, then he is liable to pay only 2 rupees. Then transfer of shares, I told you, a private company cannot transfer, but public company can be public limited company shares are freely transferable. Public limited company means shares which are offered to public for raising the huge capital. I remember long back, maybe in 92, when Reliance petrochemicals business has started, They need around 5,000 crores. That huge investment. Can you expect few people can contribute that amount? No. That is why they will be going for public contribution by offering shares. And here one more important point, for sole proprietor and partnership, generally ownership and management is different, but in case of company, ownership is different, management is different, because owners are scattered throughout the country or throughout the world, but whereas management is in the form of directors. They will be looking at the affairs of the company. Therefore management is different and ownership is different, and they need to maintain proper books as prescribed by the act. I think this is too early to discuss here. And the audit also will be done, because public money is invested. No, periodical audit has to be done. And one more thing, company is not a citizen even though it's an artificial person created by law. So I think this, you don't have much information. I've orally explained you. Now let us look at the types of company. Government company. A government company means a company in which not less than 51% of the paid up share capital is held by the central government or any state government of both. Paid up capital means the capital contribution by the central government or state government. That means suppose 100 crores is the capital contribution for a company. 51 crores, not less than 51 crores contributed by central government or state government or both. If they have invested more, not less than 51% out of 100 crores, which I have taken example, is called as a government company. Foreign company has a place of business in India, whether by itself or through an agent, physically or through electronic mode. Conducts any business activity in India in any other manner. Simple words, a company or body corporate incorporated outside India is called as a foreign company. You can take example of Microsoft. Microsoft company is a USA based company. That company has been incorporated in USA. So in India it is called as foreign company. That is what it is called as Microsoft Inc. Inc. Inc means incorporated. Incorporated in their respective country. Clear? Foreign company. So they are having place of business in India, but they are having their incorporation is not in India. That is what is called as foreign company. In India, we are having so many foreign companies. Accenture, Apple, Microsoft. So many examples in game. Dell. Okay. Private company. A private company means a company which has a minimum capital of nil. That means they need not to start a private company. You and me can start private company. We don't need to have any minimum capital. Restriction the right to transfer shares. I have told you already. You cannot transfer the shares to somebody. Limit the number of its members to 200. This I have told you already. Prohibits any invitation to public to subscribe for any shares in our debentures. You will be learning about debentures later on. We are having separate chapter. For the time being, just try to listen. Debenture is nothing but loan taken from the public. Prohibits invitation. That means the company which they need money can't go for public issue. If you are going for public issue, it is a public limited company. In case of private company, you cannot go for public issue. Prohibits any invitation or acceptance of deposit from persons other than its members. That means private limited company cannot pool the money in the form of deposits from outsiders, from public, but they can get the money from their own members, directors or relatives. Okay. Then public limited company. If you look at the act, a public limited company is a company which is not a private limited company. It is actually as per the act. Okay, but a public limited company is which is not a private company. Then what is private company which is not a public limited? Huh? Looks funny, no? A public company means a company which is not a private company. A public company may be a company limited by shares or a company limited by guarantee or unlimited company. A public company must have at least 7 members and 3 directors. This I already told you. The difference. Minimum paid up capital for both companies nil. We were previously having some limit that has been done away. Minimum number of members to start public limited company 7, private limited company 2. Minimum number of directors 3, private company 2. Maximum number of members unlimited here 200. Listing means you can list your company in stock exchange. Then those shares can be traded in stock exchanges. That is what is called a listed. Public limited company shares can be listed in stock exchange, whereas private limited company shares cannot be listed. Public issue of shares and securities, yes, it is possible. Public company can go for public issue of shares. You can pool the money from the public by taking their contribution, but private limited company cannot do. So this is comparison of private limited and public limited. Then this is a recent development in Companies Act 2013. One person company is a hybrid of sole proprietary concern. That means as per the latest Companies Act, even a company can be formed by one person, natural person as a shareholder. Only a citizen and resident of India can form OPC, one person company, but it is treated as a private company because you can't take contribution from outsiders. This is a recent development. A small company. A small company means a company other than a public company, paid up share capital of which does not exceed 50 lakh rupees. Paid up share capital of which does not exceed 50 lakh rupees or such a year amount may be prescribed, which shall not be more than 5 crores. That means we can say 50 lakhs or maximum 5 crores. This is paid up capital. Paid up capital means contributed by the members. Turnover means sales, of which as per the last P&L account does not exceed 2 crores rupees. Is this clear? Does not exceed 2 crores rupees or such higher amount as may be prescribed, which shall not be more than 20 crores. So minimum 2 crores, maximum 20 crores. Then does not exceed 2 crores or maximum 20 crores. Paid up capital 50 lakhs or maximum 5 crores. If it is not more than 5 crores, if it is not more than 20 crores, such a company is called a small company. Okay, then next one. Listed company. As per section 2 subsection 52 of the Companies Act, listed company means a company which has any of its securities listed on any recognized stock exchange. Bombay Stock Exchange, Mumbai Stock Exchange, Hyderabad Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange, etc. The company whose shares are not listed on any recognized stock exchange is called unlisted company. An unlisted company can be a public or a private limited. Private company never can be called as listed, but public limited company shares, if they are listed in stock exchange, it is called a listed company. Otherwise it is called as unlisted company. We'll be having detailed discussion of this in law, my dear friends. Just briefly we are discussing on this, because the main focus is not on theory, company law. Main focus is on accounts. Section 2 subsection 92 of the Companies Act 2013 defines unlimited company means a company not having any limit on the liability of its member. It is very dangerous. I remember maybe long back, 90s, 95, 96, Kotak Mahindra, when they have started, they are into financing market, they said they have declared themselves as unlimited company. It's very risky. Unlimited company means the liabilities of the members are unlimited. If company goes into liquidation, it has become insolvent, they are liable to bring their personal property. That is why in India we don't have such companies. So I think long back, I don't know about the present situation, but in those days we used to give example of Kotak Mahindra Bank as unlimited company, because they want to create kind of a confidence interest among the public. You need not worry about your deposit. Your deposit is safeguarded, because if something happens to our bank, we are ready to sell our personal properties and to clear off your debts. I think that is what is all about the unlimited company. In India we don't have such kind of companies to my knowledge. Maybe there are few companies, I am not sure of it. Company limited by shares. Company limited by shares means a company having the liability of its members limited by memorandum to the amount, if any, unpaid on the shares respectively held by them. Suppose I am holding 100 shares. I am supposed to pay 1 lakh. I have paid 90,000. On that shares I have to pay 10,000. That's it. That is called as company limited by shares. These sections, no need to worry about it. Company limited by guarantee. A company having the liability of its members limited to by the memorandum to such amount as the members may respectively undertake to contribute the assets of the company in the event of being wound up. Suppose I have given guarantee of 50,000. Somebody has given guarantee of 20. In case the company goes for wind up and company assets are not sufficient to clear off the liabilities, then I am supposed, since I have given 50,000 and my liability is only to the extent of 50,000, whereas other shareholders have given 25,000 guarantee, his liability is restricted to 25,000. Okay, then holding company. One or more other companies means a company of which such companies are subsidiary companies. I'll give you a small example. X company is having more than 50% of shares in Y company. X is called as holding company, Y is called as subsidiary. That's it. This information is enough, because X is having more than 50% of shares in Y company. X company is called as holding company, Y company is called as subsidiary company. Is clear? And this theory part, the time being, you can't understand. I mean, you need to take a lot of examples. This is not required for the time being. It is significant again in law. CA and accounts also will be having the same thing. I told you, control more than one half of the total share capital, either its own or together, and such is called as holding company. Subsidiary company means in my company somebody is having more than 50% of their investment by buying shares of my company. I am called as subsidiary company. The company which is investing more than 50% in my area, my business, it is called as holding company. So with this we have completed types of company. Next, a share is one of the units into which capital of the company divided. The person who contribute money through shares are called as shareholders. Now, disclosure in memorandum of association articles. Actually, these two documents you will be learning in law. Simple words, memorandum of association is, but it is an external document to the external document of company. Whoever wants to enter into an agreement, they should be thoroughly revising memorandum of association. In simple words, it's like a constitution of the company. Articles of association is internal functioning of the company. The amount of authorized capital together with the number of shares in which it is divided is stated in the memorandum of association. But the class of shares in which a company capital is to be divided along with their respective rights and obligations are determined by the articles of association. That means the capital which you need to contribute, we are having different clauses: name clause, situation clause, capital clause, liability clause, like six clauses you are having. That you will be learning in the law. So memorandum of association will be having authorized capital. That means the maximum amount that a company can raise from the public, that is mentioned in the memorandum of association. It is called as external document. Articles of association is internal functioning of them. How the dividend, how the shares has to be divided, and how the class of shares is to be issued, etc., will be decided by articles of association. Now we are having two class of shares: preference shares and equity shares. According to section 43, preference shares is one which carries the following two rights: a right to receive dividend at a stipulated rate or a fixed amount before any dividend is paid to any equity shares. We are having two types of shares: preference shares, equity shares. Preference shareholders are having priority. when company is issuing preference shares, that means company needs a temporary capital. Company don't want to give permanent ownership to the outsiders, then company may go for issue of preference shares. The term itself is preference, is saying that preference shareholders are owners of the company, equity shareholders are also owners of the company, but who are the real owners? Equity shareholders. So but preference shares, when company has issued preference shares, normally when at the time of issue they will be mentioning the rate of dividend, say 10% preference share capital. This 10% is rate of dividend. This dividend is calculated on share capital. Suppose 10 lakh is preference share capital. 10 lakhs into 10%. 1 lakh will become dividend. This 1 lakh dividend will be paid by the company to the preference shareholders before they declare, before they pay dividend to equity shareholders. Generally, sole proprietor profit is added to capital. In case of partners, we will be calling share of division of profit. Share in profit is distributed to partners according to their profit sharing ratio. In case of company, company's profit will be declared to shareholders, will be given to shareholders in the form of dividend. That dividend can be calculated, that dividend can be declared by the company only company is having sufficient profits. If companies are not having sufficient profit, then company cannot declare dividend. That dividend, when the company is declaring, first they need to pay dividend to whom? Preference shareholders. Then after making the payment to preference shareholders, then the amount can be paid to equity shareholders. That is why here it has been given a right to receive dividend at a stipulated rate. This is what? Or a fixed amount before any dividend is paid to equity share. So they are having priority. A right to receive repayment of capital on winding up of a company before capital of equity shareholders is written. When company goes for liquidation, after selling the assets, after clearing of outside liabilities, the preference share capital is the investment made by the preference shareholders. First, the amount is to be written. In this example, how much you have to make payment? 10 lakhs to preference shareholders. After making the payment, balance of amount, whether excess or deficiency, will be given to equity shareholders. So these two advantages who are having preference shareholders are having. Next, types of preference shares. In addition to the aforesaid two preferential rate, a preference share may carry some other rights. On the basis of additional rights, preference shares can be classified as follows. Simple words, when right to receive dividend or a fixed amount, if you are not having, then you are an equity shareholder. If you are not having the right to receive the payment of capital first, then you are not a preference shareholder. Obviously, you are equity shareholder. Now, types of preference shares. Cumulative preference share means which areas of dividend accumulate. It implies that in case of no dividend is declared in any particular year, the areas of dividend shall be paid in the year in which dividend is declared. The areas of dividend cumulative preference shares are shown balance sheet as a contingent liability. Here I have given example. One lakh is preference dividend. Profit profit for distribution of dividend 50,000. So 1 lakh you have to pay. For the time being, you are paying 50. What is balance? 50. This 50,000 is called as areas of dividend. This dividend can be paid along with the next year dividend. This is first year. Second year. Let us say second year profit is 2 lakhs available for dividend. So first what they do? Out of 2 lakhs, first they clear areas of dividend. Then current year dividend. Every year dividend is fixed. I told you 1 lakh. So you are having 50. This 50,000 will be given as a dividend to equity shareholders. Clear to all of you? That is why it is called as cumulative preference shares. Then simple. If you cannot carry areas of dividend, like previous example I told you 50,000, then it is called as non-cumulative preference share. Participating preference share. Participating preference shares means is that the shares, in addition to two basic preferential right, also carries one or more of the following rates as per articles. A right to participate in surplus profit left after paying dividend to equity shareholders at a stipulated rate. Suppose, as I told you, after paying the dividend to preference shareholders, equity shareholders also, and at the time of issuing preferences, company might have, board of directors might have told that, okay, you are also can participate, you can get dividend out of surplus profit. Surplus profits means after paying to preference shareholders, equity shareholders, company is having still, it is also called as divisible profit. Then in such divisible profit, preference shareholders are having right, if they are having right to get the additional dividend, is called as participating preference shares. If they don't have such right, it is called as non-participating preference. Similarly, a right to participate in surplus asset left after repayment of capital to equity shareholders upon the winding up. So I told you, after discharge, when company goes for winding up means closing of the business, they sell assets, they clear the liabilities. After clearing the liability, they may be making payment to preference shareholders. After making the payment to preference shareholders, then the amount will be given to equity shareholders. Suppose even after paying the amount to equity shareholders also, still surplus amount is there. And at the time of issuing preference shares itself, they said that you are having participation in surplus at the time of liquidation. Such shares are called as participating preference shares. That means they are having share in the surplus amount after left out after discharge of outside liabilities, discharge of preference shares, discharge of equity shares, still surplus amount is there. In that also they are having the right. So these kind of shares are generally not there in India. Non-cumulative preference shares we don't have. Participating preference shares also we don't have in India. Are you following? So if these two qualities are not there, non-participating. Now convertible. These shares can be converted into equity shares. Non-convertible shares cannot be converted into equity shares. Non-convertible. If nothing is mentioned in India, it is, come on, tell me, cumulative preference shares, non-participating preference shares, non-convertible preference shares, redeemable preference shares. You will be having that in CA intergroup 2. Redeemable means, according to provisions of the Act, company need to company need to repay the preference share capital that they have taken from the public members. According to section 55 of the Companies Act, within 20 years, every company which has got contribution from preference shareholders need to refund that money within a maximum period of 20 years. But there is exception for infrastructure companies. So a company which cannot redeem is called as irredeemable. In India, come on, tell me, the shares can be cumulative, then non-participative, non-convertible, redeemable. If nothing is mentioned in India, a company can issue cumulative preference shares, non-participating preference shares, convertible preference shares, non-convertible preference shares, and redeemable preference shares. Then equity shares. An equity share is a share which is not a preference shares. In other words, it is a share which does not carry two preferential rights, that is right to receive dividend and right to receive repayment of capital. Share capital means capital raised by the issue of shares. The amount invested by the shareholders towards the face value of the shares are called as collectively known as share capital. So about these things we'll be learning at next level. Okay. Then, for your brief understanding, just for theory part, I am telling you. Financial statements, brief knowledge is needed. Schedule 3 of the Companies Act, (2013) as prescribed format for preparing balance sheet, and here we won't be calling as a P&L account, we'll be calling as a statement of P&L. Get all of you? So I can say balance sheet format is vertical. We'll be learning when we work out the problems. I think at one problem I'll be explaining balance sheet format vertical, and statement of P&L format is also vertical. Horizontal means the way you're done trading account, P&L account is called as horizontal. Left hand side debit, right hand side credit is called as horizontal. Clear to all of you? So finally, balance sheet format prescribed, section 129, part 1, balance sheet. Part 2, statement of P&L account. The format problems you are having in CA Inter. That is why we are not discussing about this. This minimum knowledge is needed for you to understand about the theoretical part of company. Okay. So, and we'll be discussing about journal entries for issue of shares, etc. the next class. Till then, goodbye. Thank you. God bless you all.